mandatory slide to let me introduce myself. My name is Eickhel Mendoza. I'm a business apps MVP. Also the team lead at Inteleque Technology, the company I work for. I'm also the author of the Power Apps Cookbook. As the name implies, is a book that helps you learn Power Apps and everything that is around Power Apps in Power Platform in the way of recipes, like a chef would do, to teach you all about the things that you see in Power Platform. You can find me on LinkedIn or on X Twitter, that is the name now, and also some posts on inteleque.com at powernimbus.com. That is my own blog. Let me tell you, let's see if this, okay. What are we going to be talking today? We are going to see about Power Platform connectors. I know there are several makers here that want to know what it is about doing those connectors from scratch, and not to be afraid of creating those custom connectors, because they can save your life for any specific projects. We also have, I'm going to share some use cases about using custom connectors. There are going to be some things that were amazed for me in some projects that we already had in our company, and also the demo. I did everything for the demo gods to not break anything, but help me also Jocelyn, that is here on the call, for the custom connector parts. As an introduction, this is the also an updated list of built-in and connectors and custom connectors that are available right now on Power Platform. There are around 1,000 connectors. As you can see, not everything is related to Microsoft. You can see connectors from Jira, Google, or whatever the service that you want to connect to, as long as they allow you to connect to that, maybe from a database, an API, or whatever connection that you need to have, to gather some information from there as a data source into your applications or other services, or to automate those services. We also have hybrid connectors in hybrid connectivity to connect to those on-premises services that from some reason a company doesn't move those servers to the cloud. You can also connect to those servers and gather information from there, maybe a SQL database or something that is locally for that company. And also, what we're going to talk today is about creating new custom connections for new integrations. These custom connectors allows you to build your own connector with your own actions or your own method to do something with that data source. Okay. Let me tell you about the most strange use cases that that I have come across by creating custom connectors. The first one is Docker containers. Docker containers are special pods of code that can scale depending on the demand or the need for those pods of code to do something, a provision of financial computation or whatever that they need to do. We created a custom connector that connected to a Docker, a Windows Docker, to extract that information, to get that information into a Canvas app. The Canvas app was the front end of that financial team, in order to change the data and query the data and also get information into Power BI. But all the calculations and all the stuff for the financial team were executed on Docker containers around the world. So it was really crazy to do that. The next one was to connect to a custom ERP that one company had. This company had a really custom homemade ERP that didn't have a connectivity to the database, but it had some specific methods in the API and on a local API. So we connected to that ERP, even though it was on a local server, and integrated with that API and and allowed us to get all the information from there. And the one that we are going to talk about today, this is the one that we're going to use for our demo, is that actually is really new, that we can use C# code in a connector. You might think, why I'm going to need that? is because you can put some pro code into a function to do some stuff for your application. In this case, we're going to use it in a Power Automate custom connector in order to validate a regular expression. And I'm going to show you some other stuff that I learned along the way. And that's it about the slides. We're going to go straight to the demo. Okay, so here we are. Go back. Okay, we are here in the Power Apps Maker portal. We are here on the custom connector side. I'm going to just show you a little bit of information about how to build this type of custom connectors. You go here and you can create a custom connector from blank, from scratch. You can create a custom connector from Azure, and from Azure you can create a custom connector in your environment. So as you can see here, we are stepping out of the low-code side of Power Platform, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be scary or something like that, because this allows us to embrace the Fusion team in our organization. We can ask someone from the pro code side of our company, can you help me to build an API in Azure and create a connector for that API into my environment? Or you can create an API from scratch, someone that knows about, for example, the Postman tool that allows you to test APIs. You can do the API request and give me that information so I can create a custom connector with that. You can ask your team in your organization, someone must know Postman, someone must know how to run APIs, how to work with Azure, and he can help you, or she can help you to build that information into your environment. We're going to for this demo, start from scratch, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do here is to give a name, okay? This is going to be RegEx, regular expression tester. Why is this example? There are two reasons from which I created this demo, because it's already a sample on the Microsoft Learning site, so you can get that code from there if you need that, because once I tell you why is this useful, you're going to start using that in Power Automate. And the second one is because I'm going to show you how to improve that code that is on Microsoft Learn by using ChatGPT. Okay. Why is this useful, for example, for Power for Power Automate? Is because how many times in your automation do you need to, for example, validate that a simple string, a text string, is validated as an email? You can do that in Power Apps with Power Effects, but as long as Power Effects doesn't come to Power Automate, there's no way for you to validate easily an email in a text string. So you can use, for example, a regular expression to tell, in this case, in a custom connector, this is the text I want you to test by this pattern. You are using that pattern to test if that's an email or not. It's not going to be difficult because there are hundreds of patterns around the web. Actually, we can ask ChatGPT, give me a regular expression to test an email from a text string, and you can use that as a custom connector in Power Automate, and in your flow, you can say, okay, this is the email I'm getting, validated that is a correct email, and if it's so, do that, or whatever that you need to do. Okay, so we're going to start from scratch. We're presented with this first screen where we are going to describe our custom connector. I'm going to, change the folder. This one. I'm going to set an icon. I'm going to set, for example, a color for my custom connector so it appears pretty in Power Automate or Power Apps, and give a description. Regular expression tester. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit of the settings that you have here. For example, if I click here to connect to on-premises data gateway, you will be able to create a custom connector. And then when create a connection using this custom connector, it's going to ask you for a gateway already in place in your Power Platform environment. So it's going to be really useful for creating custom connectors that connect to something that is located on a local server. This is not going to be our case. In this scheme, we need to say from how are we going to connect to this URL. In this case, we always need to select HTTPS because this is a secure protocol. But I'm going to change some things here. Here you would put the host, for example, api.contoso.com, and the base URL for your API. As we are building a code connector, we are not going to have a URL here. So we put a dumb information. We put home because I'm not going to connect to any URL to get the data. I'm going to use the connector itself. Okay, we're going to go to security. We're not going to do any authentication here, but we can change the connectivity type, the authentication type, sorry, in order to secure our connector. We're not going to delve into that today. And we are going to start from the definition. Here in the definition, we need to set, here is where we create the actions that we're going to see on the, in this case, on the Power Automate site. Are the names of the little boxes that appear below our connector. In this case, we are going to create a new action. The summary is going to be a regular RegEx tester, RegEx tester, and the operation ID is the name of the action, the internal name of the action. Test. I'm going to tell that the name of this operation is going to be test. I'm not going to show you all the parameters here, so because I don't run out of time of my demo. And here is the important part, the request. Here's going where I need to tell the action how I'm going to request the information through the custom connector. So I'm going to click here, import from sample, because I want to give the custom connector the ability to learn from an API request to get that data. In this case, we are entering information to the custom connector, and it will give me information about it. So I'm going to set the verb is the way that you talk with a API. Get, as the name implies, get information, delete information, post information, put information to edit, and some stuff like that. In this case, we are going to set post. What's the URL? Again, we put some dumb information. The headers, we're not going to talk about that. And the body. Here's the JSON body with the information that I'm going to post into this custom connector. In this example, I'm going to copy this here. As you see, you put the parameters here that you're posting to the custom connector. If I paste here this information, I'm going to give you an input, and I'm going to give you the pattern. So if I give you this text, you're going to validate it with the pattern and tell me if it is valid or not. Okay, I'm going to click import. As you see, it created everything for me. The URL here, the body. If I click here on edit, you will see the payload that is going into the body, that is the input and the pattern. Everything is working correctly. As you can see on the custom connector, on this guideline, you will see that everything gets validated once you get to the next step. Okay, so we have the request ready. This is what I need to use on my Power Automate. I want to use the test action, and then I'm going to go to the code part. This step on the custom connector side is relatively new, because it was on preview until 2 days ago. So bear with me if everything explodes right now. And with this part, what it means is that you can upload code, as you see with these limitations. It must run under 5 seconds, and it can be larger than 1 megabyte of text, and it must be written in C#. So if I click here, code enable, it will be ready to understand that this custom connector is not going to connect to anything, but it will run itself the code that is here from the payload I just defined and do something. Okay. In this case, this is the part where it might get some tricky, because you will see here code, raw code, C# code. You say, oh, okay, what is this? I don't know how to write this. I don't know what to put here. I just need something to validate that this email is working okay. This is, again, another part where you can embrace a Fusion team and ask someone in your organization that knows about C#, that knows about how to work with this type of functions that you're having here on this. And this example that you have here, maybe you have a background of pro code programming, and you can start changing everything here. But there's now an easy way to do this. You can go here to ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you my way of thinking about this. The first thing was to, can you please show me a C# code to validate a regular expression against a pattern? Sure, this is the code. Okay, it's amazing. It looks correct. It looks that it should work in C#. And it even explains that the code is going to work and what you need to make it work. And okay, perfect. But can you rewrite the code using async task? Because I don't know anything about it. Let me just simply escape this so it doesn't get in the way. I don't know how to write this code, but I've seen here that you have an async task or something. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. It gives me the code with the async task. This is not going to work for me. This code doesn't look like that, like the one on the custom connector. So I said, well, this should be intelligent enough. If I give him an example to ChatGPT, give me an example of code that does regular expression against a pattern by using this type of code. What I just did is copy this example, put it here. Can you please adapt this code to validate a regular expression against a pattern? And voila, I have the code here. And I was, what? This is amazing, but I need to use parameters. I'm not going to have the information here written. This is the pattern, this is the input. No. And I then improve this one. Change the input pattern string to receive as parameters. He started to change everything, and I just started to give ChatGPT more information of what I needed about this. Can you make the execute async method receive two parameters? Here's the change. Can you please add code to parse the body of the incoming request? Why? Because I didn't need to have the input and the pattern as parameters. I need that from a post in the API. So I said that, scratch that. Can you please add code to parse the body that I just defined here, to parse that information in the incoming request? Okay, perfect. And here's the input, here's the pattern, and here's the parsing of that information. And the only thing that I needed to change is because I test this code, and the custom connector said, oh, no, you need to wrap this request in this context. Okay, please wrap the request in this context request. It changed this thing only, and everything worked. And the beauty of this is that the last thing I wanted to know is how to request this even better the next time. What would be the best prompt to ask for this result? And here's when you learn about ChatGPT and how to be a best prompter for ChatGPT or any AI that you need to work with. This is the way that you can ask him for this code more precisely. Okay? So let's get this code. That is the, well, here's a code.
Hey, Eickhel, great
Yeah,
stuff. Just
sorry.
FYI, we're still, we have one more demo, so we got to wrap it up pretty quickly here.
Oh, okay. I'm going to be fast. Okay, so I paste this one here, and I'm going to, the next thing is to test this. I create the connector. This is going to take a little bit of time. I promise this will be fast. The thing is that when you create a custom connector using code, it will take a little bit of time because it is building this part of code in order to respond for you. I'm not going to wait for this or do the testing completely here in the custom connector side. I have one already here. If I click edit in this Power Automate, if I click here to add an action in the custom tab, you will see your custom connector that you just created. The one I just created is not appearing here because it's still building. I'm going to click here on code. That is this one that you see here. And it's actually trying to test that if this email validates to this regular expression pattern. If I click test, you can use this on Power Automate or Power Apps. Again, this is not necessary because Power Apps actually understands this, and it will respond. Its match is true. If it's not, if I remove this, for example, pop. Test, run. It will actually give me false because it's not working. This is the example of code not using ChatGPT. The one that I just showed you is the one that appears on the documentation. The one from just ChatGPT is a tiny bit better because it's not actually responding true or false, but it will actually run okay if everything works. And also it will fail if the regular expression it doesn't match. So it will be better for you when you're writing the flow of your Power Automate. And just to wrap it up, this is the one that I was telling you about. It was released just 2 days ago. This allows to have a custom connectors in solutions, so it will be good for your LMA scenarios, and also the inclusion of the custom code in custom connectors that you will see here in the documentation how to you can write this code with some samples, as this is the regular expression string. You can try the one that I just created on ChatGPT, and also the namespaces that are the things that you can do in that C# code. You cannot do everything, sorry, but you can do the things that allows you from these namespaces, just to give you this. And be sure to check the GitHub samples in GitHub, because there are many samples on how to do anything on custom code. So if it doesn't show on ChatGPT or something, this code will help you. So the community is helping you. And sorry for taking so much time.
No, it's great stuff, Eickhel. Really fantastic stuff. I think opened a lot of eyes. Thank you so much.